Welcome to the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Special Education Programs, Applicant Orientation for 84.325M, Preparation of Early Intervention, Special Education, and Related Services Personnel at HBCUs, tribal colleges and universities, and other minority serving institutions. My name is Tracy Dixon, and I am the competition manager for this grant competition. The information that I'm about to present is for guidance only and cannot replace the notice inviting applications. Therefore, please read the entire notice inviting applications, the instructions, and all other related statutes, regulations, and references. Also, for additional information related to submitting an application, please review the recorded webinar entitled Applying for the Office of Special Education Programs Discretionary Grants. You can find that in the link in this PowerPoint slide. The notice inviting applications for 84.325M was published in the Federal Register on May 5th, 2023. Applications are due no later than 11:59 and 59 seconds p.m. Eastern Time on July 14th, 2023. Applications submitted after 11:59:59 will be ineligible for review and funding. The application package contains the Dear Applicant letter, the notice inviting applications, the Federal Register notice, and the grants.gov system submission procedures and tips for applicants, the priority description and selection criteria, general information, and required forms. Required forms can be found on the grants.gov 84.325M listing. You can see the link in the slide. The purpose of the 325M grant is to, 1, increase the numbers of racially, ethnically, and linguistically diverse personnel, and 2, help address state-identified needs of personnel preparation and to ensure that the personnel have the skills and knowledge that are scientifically based. This year, we have $7,250,000 available for the 325M grant. This can fund up to 29 awards. The 325M grant is new this year. Last year, there were 2 absolute priorities within the 325K NIA, with the second absolute priority targeting minority serving institutions. This year, the minority serving institution priority is published as a separate priority with the listing number 84.325M. The degree program eligibility for the 325M grant includes bachelor's, certification, master's, and education specialist degree programs in special education, early intervention, or related services. Please note that there is no requirement for an interdisciplinary project. However, if you have an existing interdisciplinary project that partners with related services programs to prepare early intervention or special education personnel, you are allowed to apply under this year's 325M grant. It is also important to note the department's priority. This language is embedded throughout the NIA. The department places a high priority on increasing the number of personnel who provide services to children with disabilities, including the number of multilingual personnel and personnel from racially and ethnically diverse backgrounds. The absolute priority of the 325M grant is the preparation of early intervention, special education, and related services personnel at HBCUs, tribal colleges, and other minority serving institutions. Again, the eligible degree programs include bachelor's, certification, master's, or educational specialist degree levels. For purposes of this priority, historically Black colleges and universities means colleges and universities that meet the criteria set out in Title 34, Section 60A.2 in the Code of Federal Regulations. For purposes of this priority, tribally controlled colleges and universities has the meaning ascribed to it in Section 316B3 of the Higher Education Act of 1965. For purposes of this priority, minority serving institution means an institution that is eligible to receive assistance under Sections 316 through 320 of Part A of Title A, under Part B of Title III, or under Title V of the Higher Education Act. For purposes of this priority, the department will use the FY 2022 eligibility matrix to determine MSI eligibility. Please refer to the link in this slide. If your university does not appear in the 2022 eligibility matrix, you are not eligible to apply under 325M. When you refer to the 2022 eligibility matrix, you will see MSI designations in the Excel spreadsheet. Please look for your university listed in one of these tabs that you see that will align with the slide. Your university is ineligible to apply if you do not see your university listed in the spreadsheet. Earlier, I mentioned that certification programs are allowed to apply under 325M. By certification, we mean programs of study that lead to state licensure, endorsement, or certification that qualifies graduates to teach or provide services to children with disabilities. Many universities made certificate programs available as part of their continuing education programs. But programs that do not lead to a state licensure, endorsement, or state certification do not qualify under 325M, and you would be ineligible to apply. This year, there's one competitive preference in 325M. We will give 3 additional points to applicants that have not had an active 325K grant in the last 5 years. Applicants are institutions of higher education, not a department or program with an institution. A grant is considered active until the end of the grant funding period, including any extension period. If you have held a 325K grant within the past 5 years, you are eligible to submit an application for this competition, but you would be ineligible for any competitive preference points. Again, eligible applicants are institutions of higher education or a private nonprofit organization that houses a university early intervention, special education, or related services training program. Under 84325M, there are 2 focus areas. They are focus areas A and B. Applicants can propose a project under focus area A, preparing personnel to serve infants, toddlers, and preschool-age children with disabilities. Applicants can propose a project under focus area A, preparing personnel to serve infants, toddlers, and preschool-age children with disabilities. Or you can propose a project under focus area B, preparing personnel to serve school-age children with disabilities. OSEP may fund out-of-rank order applications to ensure that projects are funded across both focus areas A and focus area B. How do we define scholar? The 325M grant program defines a scholar as a student who is enrolled in a program that leads to certification, licensure, endorsement needed to serve IDEA-eligible children with disabilities. Scholars are not those individuals pursuing degrees in general education or early childhood education. Upon graduation, scholars are expected to be able to be employed in a position that serves children with disabilities for a minimum of 51% of their time or caseload that meets fulfillment of service obligation requirements. You can find the information about service obligation on the link you see in the slide. It is important to understand these requirements before you apply. Award funding. A 325 application is funded up to $250,000 per year for up to 5 years. Over the entire project period, 65% of the award, at a minimum, must be used for scholar support. Applicants may use up to the first 12 months of the performance period and up to $100,000 of the first budget period for program development. Applicants proposing to use year 1 for program development must ensure that 65% of the total award minus funds allocated for program development will be used for scholar support. How can the grant support scholars? It is important to read the NIA to understand how you can design high-quality scholar support for the project. Scholar support does not need to be uniform for all scholars and should be customized for individual scholars' needs. Scholar support should include consideration for all costs associated with the cost of attendance, even if that means enrolling fewer scholars in the program. We want quality scholar support that will lead scholars to complete the programs. Some examples you can consider in designing scholar support include tuition and fees, student health insurance, allowance for books, materials, and supplies, an allowance for miscellaneous personal expenses, allowance for dependent care such as child care, an allowance for room and board, travel in conjunction with training or conferences, and stipends to support scholars' completion of the program. Projections for scholar support also should consider tuition increase and cost of living. Now I will talk about the application narrative and selection criteria that's the required project assurances and general requirements. Again, it is critical to read the entire NIA, as this presentation cannot replace reading the NIA in its entirety. There are 5 areas of selection criteria we ask applicants to address in the application narrative. Those are significance of the project, quality of project services, quality of project personnel and quality of the management plan, adequacy of resources, and quality of project evaluation. Up to 10 points are available for the significance section. In determining the quality of this section, we will consider the following factors: how the project will address the need in the proposed preparation focus area to prepare personnel who are fully qualified to serve children with disabilities who have high intensity needs, how the proposed project will increase the number of personnel in the proposed preparation focus area, and how the applicant has successfully graduated students in their program, including students with disabilities, multilingual students, and students who are from racially and ethnically diverse backgrounds, including data disaggregated by disability status, race, national origin, and primary languages, and the number of students who have graduated in the last 5 years. The quality of project services is where you will describe the core components and foundation of the project. Up to 45 points are available for this section. If your project will have a planning year, this is where you will describe your planning activities. You should also describe how the project will help scholars build the necessary knowledge, skills, and competencies in this section. Also, under quality of project services, please note that grant applicants should include plans that demonstrate how the project will engage in focused outreach and recruitment to increase the number of applicants from groups that are traditionally underrepresented in the field, including scholar applicants with disabilities, multilingual applicants, and applicants from racial and ethnically diverse backgrounds. Please note that the selection criteria the grant applicant intends to use must ensure equal access and treatment of all scholar applicants seeking admission to the program and must be consistent with applicable law, including federal civil rights law. Up to 20 points are available for quality of project personnel and management plan. In this section, we want to see how the project director and other key project personnel are qualified to prepare scholars in the project's preparation focus area, how the project director and other key project personnel will manage the components of the project, and whether the time commitments of the project director and other key project personnel are adequate to meet the objectives of the project. Up to 10 points are available for the adequacy of resources section. This section is where you can elaborate on your plans for scholar support as well as the adequacy of your budget. Up to 15 points are available for the project evaluation section. In this section, the applicant will describe how it will evaluate how well goals or objectives of the project have been met. The applicant will also describe how it will collect and analyze scholar data that demonstrates scholar progress and if scholars have obtained the knowledge, skills, and competencies set forth in the project. In this section, we also want to know what data will be collected, how you plan to collect the data, when the data will be collected, and how the data will be analyzed to inform us on the overall quality of the project and scholar performance. Please read the entire notice and give attention to the section on project assurances. That includes the service obligation requirements, assurance that all course syllabi will be provided if requested by OSEP, and the IDEA statutory requirements. In the application, applicants are required to submit a table that lists the project's required coursework. That includes the course title, brief description, learning goals, and relevant state or national professional organization personnel standards for each course. 4 exemplar course syllabi required by the degree program that reflect evidence-based practices across various content areas must be included in this section. Additional project assurances emphasize the 65% scholar support requirement. Also, please ensure that scholar support costs are not based on the condition that the scholars work for the university. Applicants also should ensure that a revised budget will be submitted if the project plan for recruitment or enrollment changes. Once funded, grantees are required to attend our annual project directors meeting in Washington, D.C. Funded projects are also required to participate in cross-project collaboration and learning opportunities. Please note that if you build a website for the project, ensure that the website is accessible. Funded projects must meet the annual scholar data reporting requirements as well. Here you can learn more about the general requirements related to the employment of individuals with disabilities, engagement of individuals with disabilities, and equal access. Please read the general requirements in the notice. In this last section, I will talk about application submission tips and ineligible applications, as well as share some helpful resources. Again, applications must be submitted electronically. We do not take paper applications or applications via email. The due date is 11:59 and 59 seconds p.m. Eastern Standard Time on July 14th, 2023. All application sections and attachments must be uploaded in the PDF read-only format. Please again note that the due date is 11:59 p.m. That is just before midnight in Eastern Standard Time on July 14th, 2023. Please register early on grants.gov. You should do that now. Make sure that your SAM registration is current. Please remember to submit early and also verify that your submission went through. Submit early and verify that your submission went through. Do not wait until the last minute to submit your application. Please follow the formatting requirements and recommendations. You can find this information in the application package. Ineligible applications are duplicate applications, applications that do not meet the application deadline, or applications that do not address the priority. I want to introduce some helpful resources. Please read the notice in its entirety. You may use this pre-application webinar as an additional resource. We also developed a frequently asked questions and answers document and a brochure for 84325M. OSEP has a discretionary grant program database, and you can also sort through previously funded OSEP 325K grants in the database if you want to see some examples or summaries of previously funded projects. The link is in this slide. This concludes the pre-application webinar for FY23 84325M grant competition. I'm the competition manager and point of contact for this competition. Please feel free to email if you have any questions or need clarification about anything in this presentation, or if you need clarification about anything in the notice. Thank you.